The Grand Assembly Hall of Nexus Prime had witnessed countless negotiations over its 12,000-year history, but never had it seen silence quite like this. Ambassador Chen stood from her seat with deliberate slowness, her weathered hands pressing against the obsidian table that had hosted peace treaties between star systems, trade agreements spanning parsecs, and alliances that had shaped galactic civilization. The holographic displays flickering around the circular chamber cast her face in shades of blue and amber as she gathered her data tablets with methodical precision. Ambassador Chen, Supreme Chancellor Voxth's 3 vocal chambers resonated with barely contained desperation, his crystalline exoskeleton refracting the chamber's light into anxious patterns. Please reconsider. The collective needs humanity's resources, your shipyards, your manufacturing capacity. Surely we have reached nothing, Chen interrupted, her voice carrying the weight of a species pushed too far. For 6 months we have sat at this table. For 6 months the Galactic Collective has told us what humanity must provide, what humanity must sacrifice, what humanity must surrender for the greater good. She made quotation marks with her fingers, a gesture that translated poorly across the assembled species but conveyed her disdain perfectly. Trade Minister Kilgzar, whose serpentine form coiled around his delegation's platform, leaned forward. We offer you technology in exchange. Medical advances? Faster-than-light communications that surpass anything in your current. You offer us scraps, Chen said flatly. Technology you've already sold to 40 other species. Meanwhile, you demand exclusive access to our orbital manufacturing facilities, unrestricted mining rights in the Sol system, and conscription protocols for our military vessels. She paused, letting the words hang in the recycled atmosphere. Did you think we wouldn't notice that you're asking for everything while giving us nothing we couldn't develop ourselves in another decade? High Arbiter Morgan, whose species had founded the Galactic Collective 3 millennia ago, spread her 6 arms in what her people considered a gesture of reasonableness. Her voice carried the auto-tuned melody of her translator. Humanity is young. You have been in the galactic community for merely 75 years. You must understand that integration requires submission, Chen finished. The word you're looking for is submission. A ripple of shock passed through the assembly. 11 species represented by their finest diplomats stared at the human ambassador. Some with compound eyes, some with thermal sensors, some with electromagnetic perception organs humanity still didn't fully understand, but all registered the same emotion: disbelief. We have studied your history, Voxth said, his tone shifting to something that might have been pleading in his species. Your wars, your divisions. Before you achieved interstellar capability, you nearly destroyed yourselves multiple times. Nuclear weapons, climate catastrophe, artificial intelligence crises. You need the collective stability. Our guidance, Chen smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. You've studied our history, but you haven't understood it. Yes, we nearly destroyed ourselves, multiple times. And every single time, do you know what saved us? She didn't wait for an answer. We saved ourselves, not through capitulation, not through surrendering our autonomy to a higher power that promised to solve our problems. We clawed our way back from the brink through stubborn, bloody-minded refusal to give up, through innovation born of desperation, through the sheer, pig-headed determination that seems to be uniquely human. This is foolishness. Kilgzar's scales rattled in agitation. The Vrek swarm is expanding. They have consumed 17 systems in the past decade. The Collective's combined military is the only thing standing between civilization and annihilation. You would abandon us in our hour of need? Abandon? Chen's laugh was harsh. You're the ones who structured this alliance to bleed us dry. 90% resource contribution, 10% voting power. Our soldiers fight and die in your wars, but we get no say in whether those wars are declared. You've been treating humanity like a convenient warehouse and army recruitment center. She picked up her final tablet and tucked it under her arm. Where will you go? Morgan asked, and for the first time, there was uncertainty in her melodious voice. Humanity cannot stand alone against the galaxy's threats. Your military, while impressive for your age, is insufficient. Your economy, while growing, is dependent on collective trade routes. Your colonies are vulnerable. You are committing civilizational suicide. Chen stopped at the doorway, the massive portal beginning to iris open behind her. She turned back one last time. Maybe we are, she admitted. But here's what you never understood about humanity. We've been the underdog before. We've been outmatched, outnumbered, and outgunned, and we've discovered that we do our best work when our backs are against the wall, and everyone tells us something is impossible. She gestured to the assembled leaders. You offer us the privilege of serving you, of being junior partners in an empire that treats us as disposable assets. You're so used to species falling in line, grateful for the protection and technology that you can't conceive of anyone walking away. But we're walking away. We're going back to human space, and we're going to solve our own problems. We're going to build our own technologies. We're going to defend our own borders. And when the Vrek swarm comes, as you say it will, we'll face it on our own terms. You'll fail, Voxith said, but his voice lacked conviction. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged, but if we do it, we'll be on our feet, not on our knees. And here's the thing that terrifies you, isn't it? The possibility that we won't fail, that humanity will prove you don't need the collective's leash to survive. That we'll find another way. She stepped toward the exit, then paused one final time. In our old world, before we reached the stars, we had a saying, give me liberty or give me death. You've given us a choice between servitude and risk. We choose risk. Every single time. The portal sealed behind her with a pneumatic hiss that seemed to echo in the stunned silence. Morgan was the first to speak, her voice barely above a whisper. What have we done? Kilgzar's scales had stopped rattling. We assumed they would bend. All species bend. Not this one, Voxith said quietly, watching the sealed portal. Not this one. In the observation galleries above, representatives from a dozen client species had watched the exchange. As news of humanity's departure spread through quantum relays, a new thought began to take root in minds across the galaxy. If humanity could walk away, could they? The Galactic Collective, ancient and powerful, felt the first tremors of something it hadn't experienced in millennia. Doubt. And in human space, as Ambassador Chen's ship broke orbit from Nexus Prime, preparations began for the most ambitious gamble in humanity's young stellar history. They would stand alone. They would risk everything, and they would do it their way, because that's what humans did best.